while I spit Patron on this microphone. Watch out, I'm in the zone, worth for everything I own. Life is March Madness, one mistake, then you go. Yeah, I had a stroke, but your boy still rhyming. And Fresh got locked, but the squad still wildin'. Catch me in any city in the hood, we grindin'. Won't you come along while I spit Patron on this microphone? Watch out, I'm in the zone, worth for everything I own. Life is March Madness, one mistake, then you go. Yeah, I had a stroke, but your boy still rhyming. And Fresh got locked, but the squad still wildin'. Catch me in any city in the hood, we grindin'.
The next topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros is Lyndon Arthur versus Anthony Yarde. Gee, who do you think won the fight, and what was your reaction to the fight?
All right. This is going to be a little controversial, apparently. You know what I mean? But I watched the fight, and I watched it in its entirety, and then I watched the first half this morning again. You know, just the first half, though. I got it 116, 112 for Anthony Yarde. And here's why. Although Arthur did an excellent job with maintaining the distance with his jab, he wasn't doing enough, right? So and I'm going to kind of compare this to the Spence Garcia fight to the Yarde Arthur fight. When Arthur was constantly on the back foot, right? Now, Arthur's the bigger guy, you know what I mean? And so when you have Yarde going in, but the guy keeps backing up, but not necessarily throwing punches. Now, it's arguably that, like, yo, his right hand was messed up, this and the third. But what I'm watching is a guy pressing the action, trying to make the fight happen. And when he does get close, he always lands a good shot. Arthur, however, isn't trying to really engage with Anthony Yarde. He's super cautious. It's cool, but there's certain rounds that it's really a toss-up, right? It's really what you favor. You know what I mean? The aggressive fighter or the person that's hitting with more cleaner shots. However, the clean shots are so far in between that, it was just like, come on, man. Like, Arthur, you're not doing enough. So I gave Yarde, let me just say the rounds, because I know it's a huge issue over there in the UK, apparently from Twitter. But I gave Arthur the first round. Then I gave Yarde the next 3. Then I gave Arthur the next 2. Then I gave Yarde the next 2. I gave the 9th round to Arthur. And then the last 3 rounds, I gave them to Yarde. You know what I mean? And again, it's because of Arthur wasn't trying to do enough. He was just trying to survive, especially in the last round, right? And then Arthur lost, at least from his mannerisms in the ring. Like, he was just like, all right, man, it's whatever. And then when he won, he was like, oh, okay. Then when they interviewed the 2 gentlemen, Arthur immediately said, I'm going to give him a rematch, right? You wouldn't say that unless you knew it was either really, really close or you actually lost, right? And so I hope they run it back. I know Anthony Yarde, I just seen a video clip this morning where he said he doesn't want a rematch, which is outrageous. You need to do a rematch. Definitely was a good fight. They need to run that back. But I definitely have Anthony Yarde winning that fight. But I do have a complaint. Now, kind of like what Katie said about Angel, Yarde, you need to leave your trainer, bro. The mouth guard part was a problem for me. Like 2 rounds in a row, he forgot to put it back in your mouth. That was kind of crazy. But what was crazier was when they went to their corners, while this dude, Yarde's talking, all I hear his trainer saying is, lions in the camp. I said, what? You know what I'm saying? What kind of advice is this? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just here, lions in the camp. And I'm like, all right, bro. You ain't even trying to help your mans win. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when I heard that, I was like, all right, this is kind of crazy. So definitely Yarde, my advice would be, and if you don't want to leave your mans, I understand it. But hire like an assistant coach that could fine-tune your skills. Because although I had you winning, I'm not mad at people saying, Arthur won. Because I can understand how they're scoring these rounds. I don't agree with that, but I understand. You need to do a lot more. This is the difference between you and Spence. Spence was the aggressor moving forward, but constantly letting his hands go, and he was connecting. Yarde was moving forward. He was trying to let his hands go, but he wasn't necessarily connecting until he connected. There's a big difference, you know? So depending on your style of what your preferred style is how people are going to judge this fight. So again, I can't get mad at people who said, hey, you know what, they edged it for Arthur. I don't believe it was clear as day victory for Arthur, but I can understand why they judged it that way. You know, I judged it different because I preferred the guy who was the aggressor, who was trying to make the fight happen, while the other guy was shook to death and only shooting out a jab once every 30 seconds. You know what I mean? So, yeah, so that's why I had it for Anthony Yarde. But get a new trainer.
Trill Dollar Bill.
I was hoping to go last because I was going to probably the only.
That is true. Trill did request to go last.
Yeah.
He did. No, you can go last. You can go last. I can go last. That's fine. All right, Ned.
I kind of disagree with G. Like I felt the decision they made for that fight was accurate. Yarde didn't do enough to convince me he won, and I know Arthur was just using his jab, but he kept Yarde at bay with that jab, and the whole entire fight it was pretty like it was like. You have to be more your boxing IQ. It just showed his boxing IQ in that fight, and for me, I wasn't impressed with Yarde after this matchup. So that's why I don't think they wronged him or that he was robbed of a decision. I just think he didn't do enough, and the judges witnessed that. So that's it. They had the right fighter. They got the right fighter, and that's that.
You know what? I was actually thinking that I should have went last because I thought I would be the only one that's seen it like that.
I mean, you can still go last. I'll go.
All right.
For me, I thought Anthony Yarde won the fight. I scored it 116 to 112. For me, Arthur had a terrific jab, like phenomenal jab, and he controlled Anthony Yarde with that jab. But Yarde was pressing the fight. I felt like when Yarde got inside, he landed some nice body shots. Yarde would land power shots during the fight, and he landed enough, I think, to win those rounds over a man who's just throwing a jab. And he was throwing a jab so much without throwing a right hand that people were speculating that his right hand was hurt, and then come to find out it wasn't. He just didn't feel like he could land it, so he didn't let the right hand go.
His hand wasn't hurt? Oh, so
no, it wasn't hurt.
It was like broken. No,
it wasn't hurt. For me, the fight wasn't impressive for either guy. I felt like both fighters could have done more, but I feel like Yarde did enough to nick it. And this is why I say that. There was one point in the fight where Yarde proved if he didn't press, there'll be no fight. He stopped moving, and Arthur just stood there.
Thank you.
And Yarde was like, well, why don't you come to me then? And he wouldn't move. And so Yarde said, okay, I'll take the play then, I guess. I got to be the one to make this fight. And so for me, there has to be the aggressor and landing punches. To me, if Yarde would have just stood there, there would have been no fight. And the proof is in that round where Yarde stood there and said, okay, let's see you attack me. And he just stood there and looked. And he literally stood there like, I never seen nothing like it. And Yarde was like, really? Yarde was like, come on. And he just stood there. And then Yarde was like, bump it, man. I'll make the fight. So to me, Yarde was the one making the fight. If it wasn't for Yarde, there would be no fight. And also, Arthur was throwing jab, 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 jab. But when you look at Joe Joyce's jab, when you look at Earl Spence's jab last night, look at Garcia's face. Mm-hmm. Look at Dubois' face. I mean, it wasn't like his jab was doing much, but like Arthur was getting rocked. Arthur got hurt a few times in that fight. I mean, even when Arthur landed his one beautiful right hand, Yarde just ate that.
Eating like a Scooby.
So, like, I don't know. And another thing, the commentary was so biased. Like, at one point, I had to turn that joint down. Don't try to sell me, Arthur. Don't try to convince me. Look, even I gave Arthur some rounds. I thought Arthur nicked a few. But I felt like if Arthur would have let his right hand go, he could have won this fight in a landslide. Mm-hmm. Like, you're controlling this dude with a jab. You literally have him at range. And when he threw the right hand, he clipped him a few times. That's why I thought his right hand was hurt. So to find out it wasn't hurt was like, come on now. But for me, Yarde nicked the fight because when you look at a fight that's 116, 112, and that's the same way I scored Garcia and Spence, that's a competitive fight. What happens is one fighter does enough to edge it in your eyes. For me, Yarde did enough to edge the fight because he was pressing the action, he was landing the power punches, and Arthur was landing a beautiful jab. But to me, the jab wasn't having the impact of the punches of Anthony Yarde. And lastly, look at the end of the fight, bro. Arthur didn't think he won that fight. He was still in that ring in disbelief, like, wow, I really got this decision. He doesn't feel like he won. And you can tell that Anthony Yarde felt like he won. Because, and not that you feeling like you won means you won, because we saw Corey Spinks in there. And we've seen guys in there feel like they won. Like my man Corte, he really beat Oscar De La Hoya, but he lost to Vargas, and Corte was still there like, come on, man, I win the fight. But for me, that's why I thought Yarde nicked it. They gave it to Arthur. The one thing in Arthur's defense is he was the champion. You got to take it from the champion. And if you want to argue that he didn't do enough to take it from the champion, I can respect that argument. All right, Bill.
You just took my talking points, Caden. This is how I look at it. In everything that you said, I totally agree with you too, G. Everything you said too. You, Ned, everybody was spot on. Here's my problem. Maybe because I was watching the fight at 4:30 in the morning. I don't know. It's on me. I have a sleeping problem. That's why you probably catch me on my page taking a run at 3:30 in the morning. So if anybody in the comment section knows any healthy sleep remedies that I can help me go to sleep, just put them in the comment section. Help your boy out. I'm going to see a specialist for sleeping and all that. So help me out. Listen, I was watching the fight so early in the morning. Maybe I seen it a little different. I seen aggressiveness from the show them you're a tiger. Show them what you can do, right? That was Yarde. Show me what you can do, Yarde. Show me what you can do. And you didn't show me nothing in the beginning. I felt like he gave around a lot of rounds. Yeah, he was aggressive. He was coming forward, but he was ineffective with his aggressiveness. A lot of times he was just coming forward and letting this guy pity pat him with the jab. I was getting frustrated because I knew that the jab wasn't hurting Yarde, but it was helping this guy on the points, because it was looking like one of those Olympic matches. You know what I'm saying? You just got to touch the guy. You know what I'm saying? And he was actually touching Yarde. He wasn't hurting him, but he was touching him. Yarde would come in and posture and feint, and this guy would keep the jab in his face. You know what I'm saying? And he Felix Sterned him. That's what he did. He Felix Sterned him, and he let him. I actually had to fight. I thought the fight could have went either way. 115, 114, either way. I thought it could have been a draw. I thought that Yarde came on later on in the fight. You know what I'm saying? But I thought that he let this guy he let him get too comfortable with just throwing the jab out. In the beginning, it started reminding me of Joe Joyce, but he wasn't, he didn't have no power behind that jab. You know what I'm saying? I think, and then another thing is, this guy was a champion. And we know the rules is, you have to take the belt from the champion. Yarde did not take that belt from that champion. If anything, Yarde was so confident, he thought that he was the man, that all he had to do was throw power punches to win this fight. I thought he was so hyped on himself, you know what I'm saying, that he forgets that he is still just a regular fighter. You're on the come up, my brother. You probably thought, like honestly, he thought he'd been in there with the Kovalevs and all that stuff, but you're still on the come up. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people still don't know who you are. So you're not going to get the benefit of the judges because of your name. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just got to fight. And a lot of things ain't going to come to you. And I do agree with you guys about switching the trainers. He needs to switch his trainer. With Danny, I think Danny doesn't need to switch his trainer because, like Danny says, if his dad's not in his corner, he's not fighting. But I do agree that he does need to bring somebody in. And I think a Robert Garcia or a Freddie Roach will be excellent. But for Yarde, I think Yarde needs a whole new team. Yarde is a great fighter, explosive fighter. He can beat off there every day of the week, I believe. You know what I'm saying? I really believe believe that he can really wash him. You know what I'm saying? Just last night, he just didn't prove that he can wash him. You know, I thought he made it a competitive fight. He let Arthur be in this fight with that jab coming in forward. It was a lot of times like he'll push the action, but he was letting his head get popped back by bull crap jabs. You know what I'm saying? But again, I believe that Yarde can beat Arthur. I think if anything, right, when they were saying Angel made a comment about Danny, right? Like Earl didn't beat Danny, Danny beat himself, right? I thought that was hilarious because Earl beat Danny, right? This time, no, I really believe that Arthur did not beat Yarde. Yarde beat himself. Yarde beat himself by starting late and by not coming in with not using no jab. I don't know what it is with all these fighters coming in and not using the jab. You know what I'm saying? That's like the first thing you learn. That's why I kept flicking this picture up right here with Emmanuel Stewart and Thomas the Hitman Hearns. You know what I'm saying? Because this is what a jab would do. And Kanan would tell you before, a jab would take you around the world. You know what I'm saying? And Arthur was looking at the last fight with Joe Joyce, and he figured, listen, I'm gonna jab. If I'm not gonna throw my right hand because Joe Joyce didn't throw his, I'm gonna try to just jab my way. And I think the jab got him a draw. I don't believe that any guy deserved to win, but I can understand. I could see a 115, 114 for Arthur, but I could also see a 115, 114 for Yarde. I think going forward, Yarde needs to push the action, you know what I'm saying, and stop just looking for the knockout. You know, I think that was another thing too. Like he was loading up on all these big shots. You can use a jab to set some of this stuff up. You know that, Yarde. You know, this is what the jab's there for, you know? So if he uses the jab, and when he's coming in using the jab, and then he can throw those combinations to the body and to the head, what he was doing, I think that he can be a force in this division. But I think that Yarde himself, he beat himself. That's how I feel.
Now, one thing you said that I agree with is Yarde did so much posturing and posing. Yeah. It was like, it looks good, like you're posing for pictures. Like he would do all this and all these feints and all this moving. And I'm like, yo, but are you moving to get in there? Like, you know, like what are you doing? Like it was just a lot of, you know, it was like a lot of posing. It's like, you know, he does it in the gym. People are like, oh yeah, champ.
Lions in the camp.
Yeah, Lions in the camp, man. But it was like, you know, like I said, I feel like Bowman could do more, but he did do a lot of like posing. Sometimes I'm like, yo, when are you using that head movement to get inside, brother? Like, you know, because it was this. But one thing I do want to point out. So BT Sports, Frank Warren, and not that I call you this, Frank, because I never knew about this term until I looked at my comment section. Fish eyes is what the people call you. I'm not calling you fish eyes. That's Frank Warren. Fish eyes. Bro, I paid $25 to watch that fight. And in between fights, it was just straight dead silence and no commentary, no clips telling me about the fighters that were about to fight, no nothing. It was arguably the worst production that I've ever paid for in the history of boxing.
They just showed the ring.
That's it.
Yeah.
For like 30 minutes, just the ring.
I mean, I'm not even like, I believe them and there's another network, ESPN too. They did the same thing. In between the
Fox. Y'all can say what y'all want. Fox has the best boxing production out of all of them.
No, Frank. Or tell the ESPN guys to holler at us in between fights. And
thank you. Dollar Bill, I was just about to say that. Look, real talk. Frank Warren, respectfully, fish eyes. I say respectfully because that's what they call you. I don't know. I think that's like a cool nickname that they calling you. I don't know if it's disrespectful. Fish eyes. Look, if you need entertainment in between fights, we could do that for you.
I'll let you boys.
We could do that for you. But that was terrible. That was horrendous. That was you should give me back $15. There was more dead time than there was action in that fight. More dead time watching the ring with no sound than we actually got action in those fights. So, brother, man, you can holler at us. We're here.
Yeah, and I just like to before you end the trail, I do agree about the Yarde. Yeah, Yarde actually was throwing jabs. He wasn't throwing enough. But one thing I did notice what Yarde did that worked, I was shocked he didn't keep doing it. When he did the double jab, it was effective. You know what I mean? It's like if the first one didn't catch him, because Arthur always moved back, the second jab did connect, and then he would go for a power shot. So I was like, yo, just keep doing that. You know what I mean? It's working. Why not you just keep doing it? And it went back to, I'm just going to chase after homeboy. But the only thing, which I agree with Trill 100, because I'm always the one that says this. Well, hey, you know what? If it's a championship fight and the rounds are close, you got to give it to the champ. But what happens if the champ doesn't want to exchange? You know what I mean? Like, that's the only thing where it's like, I feel like I'm going against my own rule because Arthur looked like he didn't want to fight. You know what I mean? And if you don't want to fight, it's hard for me to give you that round when you're just like.
But I agree. But he didn't look like he didn't want to fight, but he was still tagging him with that jab.
Yo, it's not so. G, just for clarity, you're flip flopping on your own rule.
Yo, listen.
No, I think we're all in agreement. I think it's safe to say that. How do y'all feel with me saying that we're all in agreement that Yarde beat himself?
Facts. I give you that.
Yeah, I think Yarde needs to look in the mirror for this decision and take some accountability 100%.
Yarde, run it back, man. Stop being stupid. Run it back.
Please like and subscribe. Let us know how you feel in the comment section. And please check us out on Instagram and Twitter, and also check out our podcast on all major streaming services. We are the Boxing Bros.
We could have been flawless, flying up to make people's mouths drop jawless. How can 2 years be erased in 1 August? And you know I have my pride, so I had to get brolic. All in all, I can't call it. Just know you're my queen. Wish I was denim, cause then I be in your jeans. Can't fight fate, and you've been loving me since your teens. But when you can't move forward, you gotta wipe your slate clean.